let's go out to the voicemail of Truth and Reason, because we had one caller who had an interesting angle of what the Watson team could be kind of aiming for in these briefings to Judge Sue Robinson.
I want to comment on the suspension that's looming over Deshaun Watson. I feel as though when it comes down to the suspension of Deshaun Watson, if the owners is own up to a higher standard than the player, if there was similar situations and these owners didn't get suspended, fined, lose job picks, anything, how can they find grounds to even suspend him for a season when there's nothing happened to these owners? Thank you for taking this call.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting point brought up by them, because again, it says in the collective bargaining agreement and in that personal conduct policy specifically that everyone, and that is it bold, underlined, making sure that every single person, whether it be owner, player, whoever, is held to that same standard, and especially the owners. The NFL has even said owners are held to a higher standard. So, Quincy, at that point, you got to think that Watson's team is kind of looking at that and saying to Judge Robinson, if Daniel Snyder is off on a boat and avoiding Congress and all of their subpoenas, what are we doing when it comes to this Watson treatment here?
Yeah, and this is why there being an arbitrator is something that has been seen as favorable for the Cleveland Browns, right? Well, not the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson. So when in the past you would have an argument like that, which would be a fair argument of, hey, this is hypocrisy. Like, you're literally not applying this rule to people who should be applied the rule under. It just wouldn't matter because the commissioner is making the decision and Raj has a job. And that job is also to service the 32 NFL owners, right? He's not in charge of them. They're kind of in charge of him. They set the rules for him. So he would not be able to apply it like that or, really consider that. But a judge, somebody who's not within the NFL structure, can look at that and go, okay, well, if you're not going to do anything for these situations, and I don't find it fair for you to throw the book at this player for this situation, given that this is supposed to be for everybody, because again, it's outside arbitration. So they're going to look at this rule, see how it was applied fairly within that workplace, and then determine what the punishment should be from there. So that is something that's going to help them. Because of the NFL, clearly we kind of know why they would not apply that to owners, just because they're always going to be more hesitant to apply punishment to owners, just because owners vote on that punishment to themselves and they don't want to open up any doors that they could potentially fall through either. And that's how it is. But with the arbitrator there, it's going to make it that they can point out those things and maybe have some leniency applied to the players in these situations if that's the case.